Hey guys, what is up? This time it's going to be a cast of the barcode over here is going to be spawning in the bottom right hand position on Belshir Vestige, and he is actually HTOMario. If you guys don't know him, he's a really good top of NA ladder. He was Grandmaster last season. This season I believe he is rank 1 Masters at this point. If you guys didn't know him, you guys should probably check his stream out, I think, on Twitch. He streams pretty regularly. And what's so cool about his play is that he goes mech every single matchup, and he's not afraid to experiment. And he releases quite a few replay packs, and this is from his latest one. In the top left-hand position, it's going to be Jimmy spawning as the red Protoss here. And yeah, I have been looking into playing a lot of mech in TVP just because I'm just really not comfortable going to late game against a Protoss with Bio, Viking, Ghost. My late game control isn't the greatest. So yeah, for any of you Terrans having any problems with the Terran versus Protoss matchup, I strongly suggest you guys go check out HTOMario. And so this game should be pretty good. It's a pretty long one, no sort of weird cheese from either player. And that's what I like to see. So the Protoss going for a gateway as well as pylon. Pretty standard timing here. Looks like Mario going for a 12 gas here, 13 barracks. Interesting opening. So it looks like he's going to go into pretty early factory play, unless he wants to do some sort of weird Reaper play. But I think, yeah, 12 gas usually means that it is going to be the factory play, just because as soon as barracks finishes, that means you'll have 100 gas to throw down your factory straight away. Looks like our Protoss over here throwing down his gas at a pretty standard timing as well, saturating it with 2 for a second there, but adding a third one pretty soon. So I think that was a small mistake, unless he has the gas calculated exactly or something. Cybernetics core going down, so it looks like he's not going to be any too greedy or anything. Second gas coming down right after Cybernetics core. This is looking to be pretty standard Protoss opening. A lot of Protoss is opting to go for the second gas pretty early, just so they can get the mothership core out and stalkers. Yeah, in Wings of Liberty, a lot of the Protosses would build an early Zealot and Stalker to pressure, but these days with the mothership core and the Stalker being such a good combination, a lot of Protosses are opting to go for that kind of pressure early on. Looks like the factory went down straight after the barracks. And looks like he's saving up for 50 gas for a reactor, probably here. Yeah, and there comes down the reactor, so we'll see what kind of play this is going to be. It could be Widow Mines, it could be Hellions. Widow Mines being the more popular option these days, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mario pulled out some Hellion play here. From my own experience, Protosses really don't expect early Hellions, so they send out their Stalker Mothership Core out onto the middle of the map. And with this, the Hellions having such a big speed advantage over any gateway unit, they can kind of run into the main and get some probe kills if the Protoss isn't careful here. So it looks like, yeah, the factory is going to be landed on this barracks straight away. And we'll see what unit he makes. Next is coming down from the Protoss. Pretty standard timing here. Mothership core is out, so this is a pretty safe opening. And Mothership core definitely helps you defend against Reaper plays. And it looks like the Stalker over here, moving into the natural, seeing no immediate command center here. He's going to poke up the ramp, sees that Marine, and looks like he's going to pull away. Spots the bunker, so I think he could have done some damage here, but with, yeah, two Hellions and another Marine popping out, the Stalker won't get too much done. This is what I was talking about. The Hellions can just run right past the Stalker here and try to go into the main. So it looks like quite an early forge here by the Protoss after throwing down a second gateway straight after. The SCV did spot all this, so I mean, Mario should feel pretty confident that there isn't going to be any sort of cheese coming out here. Ooh, and this is another benefit about the Hellions. They can pick off sentries so fast, and that's 100 gas lost already in the early game. That's really going to hurt the Protoss. Doesn't look like he's going to get too many probe kills here. Might get a few good, gets some nice hits down right there. Protoss not microing his mothership core quite to its fullest potential, but this Hellion will get cleaned up without doing too much damage. 7 kills, actually not too bad at all. But the problem is now that HTOMario is slightly supply blocked. That's a pretty big blunder here. But what I was going to say is that kind of damage is kind of needed to justify an opening like this, because the command center is so delayed. Actually building up a lot of minerals here. I wonder what he's... Yeah, so... Looks like the command center does get thrown down. It could have been thrown out a little earlier, but it's not too big of a deal. Looks like after the initial 2 Hellions, Mario did opt to build 2 Widow Mines because it does give you such nice defensive capabilities there. And with this Medevac coming out, I feel like he is probably going to load up these Marines and Widow Mines to try and put some more pressure on the Protoss. See if he can eke out a few more probe kills, because the Protoss is going to be ahead in workers if you don't do this kind of stuff after delaying your command center for so long. Building more Hellions, actually. So he could follow this drop up with an Hellion drop, or maybe just have these Hellions out on the map to get the watchtowers as well as scout what's going on. +1 attack did get started quite early here by the Protoss, adding a robo as well behind this. Kind of skimping on the gateway production, but I don't think that's too bad, just because he knows that Hellions are out, and gateway units are pretty good against Hellions as long as they're not sentries or zealots. So his drop looks like is going to move into the main here now, dropping its cargo right on top of this photon cannon. So it looks like the Protoss, with that early forge, not only getting upgrades, but also getting this defensive Widow Mine. That shuts down a lot of Widow Mine plays that could occur. And looks like at the same time as that drop is occurring in the main, the Hellions do move into the natural, but it looks like with another cannon over there, not too many more probe kills will happen here. Protoss doing a nice job of holding it off, identifying that the Terran wants to be a little aggressive with drops as well as harassment. So, looks like a Twilight Council coming out behind this. Looks like the probe will spot, yeah, both extra factories getting thrown down, so the Protoss will know that the Terran is going for some sort of mech play here, and setting out that early 3rd probe is a pretty good move as well, just because you know mech won't push out until quite late into the game. Getting that early 3rd nexus isn't too big of a risk at all. And now that those 2 Hellions get cleaned up without doing too much either, I feel like, yeah, it looks like the Protoss is going to scout out to see if there's anything here before throwing down a 3rd early nexus here. Pretty good response by the Protoss so far here. Mario being safe, throwing down this missile turret. I wonder if he spotted the Twilight Council. Looks like he did. No. Oh wow. I wonder what got cancelled here, but he didn't see the Twilight Council. But he's just playing safe here because he doesn't want to die to some sort of DTs walking into the the natural and main here. Adding a tech lab and reactor. Looks like he swapped the factory onto, the barracks onto the reactor, and making a tech lab onto the factory here. He's probably going to start cranking out a lot of mech units here. A lot of Marines are being produced. This is one thing that Mario likes to do, mix in early Marines, because Mech really does suffer in the early game in its defensive capabilities. Looks like he's going to drop a Widow Mine here to try and catch some probes off guard here, but with this cannon about to morph in, yeah, it does look like the Widow Mine does get forced to pull back. The Stalker's moving into the front here, seeing what they can get done, but yeah, taking that first siege tank shot, they should pull back here. A pylon actually being placed in an aggressive position, so the Protoss might feel like he wants to do some aggression here, probably with the Blink Stalkers as Blink finishes up. Another forge has been added, so looks like the Protoss kind of identifying that the Terran is going for mech, so going for a very late game orientated play. That's a pretty good choice, just because as I said before, mech is really only kicks in to overdrive into the late game, and if the Protoss is comfortable going into the late game, having the right unit composition, you should be able to hold off mech pretty nicely. A Raven being added here, this is pretty nice play. I really love mixing Ravens into mech in any matchup, just because it gives so much utility. It has seeker missiles, which are so good these days. Point defense drones, pretty damn good against the Stalkers, as well as any projectiles that could come in. Looks like this Banshee does get picked off by the Stalkers here, losing one Stalker for one Banshee. Pretty good trade for the Protoss, just picking away at the Terran army here, kind of delaying any sort of inevitable push that may come. Oh, and actually, look at this. Using a Seeker Missile onto the Observer here, denying any sort of further blink into the main until another Observer does move into position. And looks like adding so many gateways now. And this is kind of necessary just because the Protoss was on just 2 gateways this far into the game, producing a lot of Immortals here, and these are going to be so good against the slow attacking mech units like the tanks as well as the Thors that may come out. It does look like the Stalkers do get pushed away, and Mario does secure his third base quite nicely here, securing his gases straight away, because that's kind of the important resource when playing Mech as a Terran. Minerals just kind of become expendable. You can spend a lot of those minerals on Hellions as well as Marines if you want to. And what you kind of want to do into the mid and late game is try to do some harassment with maybe Hellbats or Hellions. Get some probe kills in there to try and put yourself in an advantageous position going into the mid and late game, which is when, as I said before, Mech is going to be at its strongest. 2 armies being thrown down just now, so upgrades are going to be quite delayed for the Terran, but I don't mind this play too much, just because looks like Mario is going to try and play this into the late game, and so those upgrades should kick in right as the Mech army is at its strongest. Looks like Mario is going to push out here, but I feel like this, I don't know how much this is going to get done, because like with this many Marines, which aren't that useful against the gateway units as well as Archons here from the Protoss. They're only going to act as tanking units, and with only tanks and Banshees as the main DPS here, I feel like with this many Zealots, the Protoss should be okay in this engagement. Looks like the Terran army got caught off guard here a little bit. Tanks not having time to siege up here, and looks like the Terran, it is going to be forced to pull back. The Protoss takes quite a significant supply lead here after that trade, and the Protoss looks like he is, after that trade, feeling pretty comfortable to secure his 4th base, and I think that's a pretty good choice. Chipping away at the Terran Mech army like this definitely negates his ability to be aggressive onto the map. And looks like Storm is coming out as well for the Templars. Mixing in Templars is really nice as a Protoss, just because storming the Hellbats is so nice, as well as storming big clumps of tanks can be pretty good as well. The Protoss might be thinking about moving into the 3rd to try to do some damage, but without a proxy pylon on this side of the map, I don't think this is too great of a choice. Looks like the Protoss is just going to split up his army here, and this is pretty nice. A lot of Protosses neglect to do this, I feel like, in all matchups where they don't split up their units effectively. With an Observer here and this many Blink Stalkers, he does have the option to blink in here, pick off some add-ons, maybe some units being rallied to the front. But with the double sensor towers here, I feel like Mario should be prepared for this. His army is kind of out of position, but okay, now he is moving some stuff into the main, so he can deny any sort of blink up into the main here. When picking off that Observer, a pretty nice move there, will deny the Blink Stalkers from going into the main for a while. And looks like formulating some nice walls here with engineering bays, and as I said before, because minerals are kind of pretty much expendable as a meching Terran, this is a pretty nice move, especially against this kind of composition with a lot of Zealots. Having your mech army behind a wall is going to get you really nice engagements. And looks like HTOMario has caught up in the supply count here. The only problem is that the Protoss has a 4th base, and that gas is going to be really nice going into the late game here, because the Terran at this point can really not feel comfortable trying to take a 4th, especially on a map like this where the 4th is pretty far away, and the mech army can definitely not be spread thin, because the strength of the mech army is when it's in a big ball with all that DPS and all that health. So I wonder how Mario is going to try and secure 4th base, if he is planning to take one at all. The probe does come in here, scouting what's going on. Mario should probably pick this off sometime soon. But it looks like the Protoss army is moving into position here. Pylon has been set up, so reinforcements can come in and reinforce into this position pretty soon. And a Zealot run-bys can be pretty nice if he warps in some Zealots from this side as well. Actually, a Pylon being warped into plain sight here forces Mario to get into defensive position at the 3rd. But I feel like Mario should be pretty safe. The Protoss definitely doesn't want to move into a position like this with engineering bays blocking a lot of the surface area that the melee units can get in. Morphing quite a few Templar though, they will start to build up a lot of energy here. Mario kind of leading a few tanks here for some defense. Pretty nice move. That does buy a lot of time for your mech army to move into position to defend if the Protoss does go for some sort of an attack. Looks like a Mobius reactor being added for the Terran, and mixing in Ghost is a really nice option, because the Protoss, like, the response from Protoss against mech is a lot of times is going to be a lot of Immortals and a lot of high Templar, and getting EMPs on the Templar and Immortals is pretty nice, as well as snipes onto the Templar. That can negate a lot of damage that could otherwise be done against the Terran here. It looks like a nice little run by here by the Hellions there. If they move into position here, they should be able to get quite a few probe kills. The Protoss army is actually not moving into position here. This could be a mistake, actually. The Hellions are going to get a lot of kills. Mario is now controlling them and getting them into nice spots to get a lot of probe kills here. And wow, yeah, 29 probes being killed, with a few more going to be killed on the way here.